Hey guys, Ivan here, and in today's video we got a couple of very interesting things to talk about. The first one will be about Rafel Brandao versus Chris Bumstead. So as you can see, the Who is the Best Bodybuilder Instagram page made this post and they quoted Rafel Brandao. I don't know where he said this exactly, maybe on some Brazilian podcast or his YouTube channel, something like that. But he did say it because he confirmed in the comment section. So basically what he said is, at 90% of my potential, Chris Bumstead could beat me. At 100%, I would have won. And Rafel Brandao saw this post and he commented down below and he said, "Hey guys, don't take things out of context, just to move your Instagram. I said a lot about Chris's greatness and how much he represents for the current sport. I also said why I didn't compete in Prague, which was totally out of my plan. I admire Chris and it would have been an honor to compete against him. But in a context where I wouldn't be 1 year into preparation competing in my 5th show. After all, Chris is a great athlete and against an athlete like that, you need to be 100% ready." So what do you guys think about this? Who would have won if Rafel actually did a Prague Pro? I mean, basically what he's saying, if I am understanding him correctly, is that if he was at his absolute best, meaning if he was just prepping for one show, or like if this was his first or second or third show, something like that, if he wasn't competing earlier this year at the Arnold Classic and then the Arnold Classic Brazil, if he was 100%, he thinks he would have won against Chris Bumstead. This right here is Rafel Brandao from the Romania Pro, and here he won. He won against a couple of pretty good guys, like Kim Williams especially. And, I wouldn't say that he was off here, but was this his absolute best? I would have to say no. No, I mean, he was pretty close to his best. He was definitely much better here than he was at the Mr. Olympia. Overall, I think this physique, this edition of Rafel, would be pretty competitive against Chris Bumstead. But let's take Arnold Classic, which was his absolute best of all time. Let's take that version of Rafel. Would that version actually beat Chris's version from Prague Pro? Well, he did stack up really well against the guys, the best in the world, basically. Hari Chopin at his absolute best as well, and Samson Dauda at his, let's say, second best of all time. Arnold Classic was really competitive and Rafel ended up in third, and some people even talked about like how he could have potentially placed even second. I don't think there was a chance of that happening, but he actually compared really well against these monsters right here. He definitely brought it to that show, like he had the size, the fullness that he never had before, and his conditioning was good. It wasn't some crazy super level of conditioning. He was more peeled in the years prior to this, but never with this kind of fullness and size, which is obviously, as you can see guys, very, very important in open bodybuilding. And this was also like very tight, very full, very hard. So this would have stacked up so well against Chris Bumstead. This would be so close, man. Now, as far as size, is Rafel Brandao that much bigger than Chris Bumstead? I would say he is bigger, but not that much. I mean, they're similar height. Chris is a bit taller, I believe. But you know what? Chris has that crazy depth of the separation. Like everything is super straighted, everything is very deep, everything is cut like crazy. And like he has better structure. Even though Rafel's structure is amazing, Chris is just, insane in that regard. I would say Rafel definitely has a bigger back, but does he have the same conditioning in the glutes and hamstrings? No, I wouldn't say so. And as far as like the legs, they are close, I would say, in terms of size. But man, Chris with his waist and with his lines, with his aesthetics, with his presentation and everything, I thought it was very close between him and Martin is a top 4 Olympian. He has the size of like those top 3 guys as well, like he matched very well against those guys, Hari, Derek and Samson. And Rafel is like 8 at a Mr. Olympia. So in terms of size, maybe Rafel is a little bit bigger, especially in the back, but in a lot of shots, I think Chris would have beaten Rafel Brandao, even if Rafel was 100% on. Now, if he was the way he was at Romania Pro, which is not Rafel at his best, he was like maybe 90% there, maybe 85%, and he admits that because he was tired from competing the whole year. If he showed up at Prague, I don't think he would have beat Chris, no. But if he was at his best, that would be an amazing battle. That would be a crazy battle. I'm curious what you guys think, but I'll just say it. I think Chris would have won. I think Chris doesn't lack that much size compared to Rafel, has a better structure, better separation. It would be very close, but I think in the end, Chris would prevail. And that's the way I see it, guys. If you see it otherwise, tell me down below. Alright, now what about this guy right here, Rafel Brandao, who announced that he was going to compete at the Prague Pro like 8 weeks before the show, and then in the end he just guest posed. He never really said that he's out, but we all knew at a certain point, and he showed up here, he guest posed. He looked big, man. He didn't lose any size, at least. His conditioning was good for the off-season, but it wasn't even close to being show-ready, so I don't think he even tried to get ready for this show. But if he showed up, if he was actually mentally, I guess, able to prep, if he showed up the way he was at the Dubai Pro, for example, would he beat Chris Bumstead? I think so, man. I think so. I mean, Rafel, he has, like, not a very aesthetic physique, not a very nice structure, not even close. But you guys saw, like, at the pre-judging between Martin and Chris Bumstead, Martin was significantly off at the pre-judging. His conditioning wasn't what it was at the finals. And he still won with a perfect score. Why? Simply because he's bigger. And this is open bodybuilding. And what Rafel brought to the Dubai Pro stage was decent conditioning, not great, not good conditioning, but it was decent enough. And like with his crazy amount of muscularity, I think he would have beat Chris Bumstead, simply because he's so much bigger. But that is a huge if for some reason this guy just can't prep. Obviously, he has no problem with like holding on the size. I mean, he's massive all year around. So he's probably doing whatever it takes to stay big, to get bigger even, to progress. But when it comes to prepping, for some reason, I don't know, he has some sort of an issue, I guess, and he just, can't do it. He needs to be forced to compete. His sponsors forced him to compete at the Dubai Pro. He wanted to pull out of that show as well. So, I don't know, I mean, it's a huge if, because we never know if this guy's going to ever compete again, if he's ever going to be able to pull through the prep. I was also informed by a very reliable source that Neckzilla has some sort of cramping issues when he's preparing for the stage, when he's in show condition. So that's another issue. I mean, he's a mass monster. I'm sure he's very complicated to, get in condition and peak well. But I think it's mainly like a mental thing. I don't think he's mentally able to do things professionally. But what do I know? Anyways, we didn't get to see him on that stage, very unfortunately. That would be really amazing if he was on that stage. I mean, any of these top guys, any of these top open Olympians or top open bodybuilders, if they were on that stage, it would make it more fun, more interesting against Chris Bumstead. And this guy announced that he was going to do it, but yeah, unfortunately, it didn't happen. He still looked massive doing this guest posing right here, but yeah, no. I don't know when we're going to see this guy on stage, if ever. Alright, we also got something new from Nick Walker, a physique update, in that spot that basically shows everything. And from what I'm seeing right here, I mean, I don't really like his abs and thigh shot. I don't think anybody does. But he's showing it to us because he's very transparent. He shows us everything. So we'll be able to see how his physique progresses as he's doing the off-season with a new coach. And once his prep starts, how it's going to look like once he's in shape. But he is massive right now, for sure. He definitely got the size back if he lost any. I mean, he thinks he lost a lot of size during that prep for the Mr. Olympia. I don't see how could that have happened because he wasn't really in shape. He got even more fat than usual. But yeah, apparently he lost some size and now he's got it back. He looks massive right here. And also he said in his Q&A on his stories that his weight right now is 285 pounds. Which is really heavy for him. I don't think he was much heavier than that. I think he got to like 290 something at his biggest, but this is very close to it. And he said that about his weight like a week ago or something like that. Maybe right now he's over that. Here is a shot of his back. It's very unusual to see Nick with glutes looking like this. Like usually his glutes and hamstrings are shredded no matter the time of the year. But here he's definitely holding on some fat and a lot of water, I guess. I mean, he is doing an off-season right now, so that's totally fine. It's all about, getting as big as possible in certain areas, especially quads, and maintaining the midsection, keeping it as tight as possible. Now, I also think that prior to this push phase that he started recently, I believe he went off. Probably when he realized that his gear wasn't good. I don't know if it was really fake, but something was off there. I'm pretty sure he went off for a while and now he's back and, he's getting bigger and bigger and I'm sure he's going to get tighter as well as he keeps progressing. But yeah, here he doesn't look super hard, he looks pretty soft, but again, it's very important for him to do an actual off-season, to try to focus on improving a couple of things. Overall, he is massive, and here you can see his midsection. I mean, is it better? I think it's pretty much the same, but let's give him time. Maybe with this new coach, after a while his waist will shrink a little bit. I think his legs are kinda looking a little bit better, but I don't know, man. We'll see on stage. Like, sometimes it looks like that, but on stage it's the same story. I don't know what's gonna happen in the end, but here you go, guys. Tell me, what do you think about Nick Walker's physique right now? And whatever is on your mind, comment down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. For more videos like this, subscribe to my channel, guys. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon. All the best, and bye-bye.